Okay, this is the 30-second introduction to rotational moulding. So what we do is we take plastic that's in powder form and it's pre-mixed to colour, it doesn't stay in the bag. That gets loaded inside a hollow mould. And the mould is either hand fabricated out of sheet metal or it's cast or CNC machined aluminium. So the powder's inside the mould. We then close the mould and then we apply heat to the outside of the mould whilst we're rotating it, either biaxially or using a rock and roll motion. And that's cooking the part. And once the part's finished cooking, we take it away from the heat, so take it out of the oven, and then we allow it to cool down, still with that same biaxial motion. And then once the part's cooled down, the plastic part actually shrinks. So at that point in time, we can split the mould, and then we pull the part out, and we've got our plastic part. Now notice, inside the mould, there's nothing left. So there's no residue or anything like that. So we can make a blue part, then we can make a green part, then we can make an orange part, it doesn't matter. The plastic part itself may need part lines trimmed and other post-moulding operations. In this particular case, this part has a moulding graphic. Actually, it's got a few moulding graphics, a couple of places. It's got a little magnet that we've moulded in, so we can mould in inserts and so on. This particular part's also had post-mould polyurethane foam added, and not much else to it. Guess what it is? Okay, so we're going to talk about a few of the different types of machines that are commonly used. So it's not every type of machine, but it's just a few of them. One behind me is a 4-arm carousel. On this machine, the oven moves forwards and backwards. So there's other types of carousels where that doesn't happen, but on this particular one, it saves a little bit of space. It also means that you only have one pair of doors at the front of the oven, so you've got less seals and can make for a more efficient cook, use less emissions when you're making them. Okay, so we're just setting a part into cycle now. So you can see the oven doors opening, and then the oven's going to roll forward. The mould, the arm won't start rotating until the oven's actually all the way in the forward position. So it's coming forward. And again, this is big heavy machinery, nothing happens really fast. Yes, you could make it go more quickly, but if something went wrong, that'd be bad. And obviously, it's a pretty challenging environment for all the moulds. I mean, you take them from room temperature into an oven that's at 300 and something degrees with, you know, a couple of 14 kilowatt recirculation fans that's blasting the air through as fast as you can. You heat the mould up as quickly as you can for 20 or 30 minutes, whatever the cycle is, and then you take it out and you cool it down more or less as quick as you can. So we're going back to the old school. This is an open flame rock and roll machine behind me, 24,000 litres. This is, you know, the way it used to be done really commonly quite a long time ago, but we still find it really useful for certain tanks. So it's more suitable for a larger round product and ones where you don't have to do tool changing. So each of these moulds have a dedicated machine that they stay on. We don't pull the mould off and put a different one up. You can, but it's a fair bit of work to do that. Okay, so the big kahuna. So this is another rocking oven, so a rock and roll motion, just on a little bit of a bigger scale. So it's not the biggest machine in the world, but it's certainly getting up there. So it's big enough to fit a 20-foot shipping container inside it, and it's the same motion as a smaller one that we saw earlier. So the moulds rotate 360 degrees, positive or negative, and then in this particular case, the whole oven rocks to whatever degrees we need to set it. Lots of customization possible because it is a rock and roll machine. So we can introduce the high pressure air for either using venturis or for the cooling side of things. And then we can also introduce the low pressure, high volume air in the cooling cycle to achieve really efficient internal cooling. So obviously it's a big piece of equipment, nothing moves particularly fast, but it does certainly look quite impressive when the machine is running. Okay, so we're looking inside one of the open flame moulds here. Unlike an oven, it's a bit easier to sort of rotate the mould, and we can actually have a look at what the powder's doing inside the mould.